भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Let us now pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, Thou abidest in all, Thou art all, Thou assumest all forms, Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all, Thou art existence, knowledge, and bliss. Salutations unto Thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. आत्मा मे शुद्ध्यन्तां ज्योतिरहं विरजा विपाप्मा भूयासगं स्वाहा. May my physical being be purified. I am the nature of the light, pure, all-pervading consciousness. ॐ अंतरात्मा मे शुद्ध्यन्तां ज्योतिरहं विरजा विपाप्मा भूयासगं स्वाहा. May my mental being be purified. I am the self-effulgent, pure light, free from any sin. I am that divine. Om Paramatma me shuddhyantam jyotiraham Viraja vipapma bhuyasagam swaha. May my spiritual being be purified. I am of the nature of the self-effulgent light of consciousness, free from all impurities and sin. I am the all-pervading, ever-perfect, ever-blissful Self. Let us feel that Self, our true nature, in our heart. In the form of a steadily burning candle flame. Let us concentrate on that. I see this light has filled my whole being. I am the light, pure. I am not limited by body or mind. I am infinite. I am bliss itself. I have no hankerings, no desires. I am peace itself. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Dear friends, these days we are all talking about vaccine and when we will be able to get it. It is always the case when a disease is spreading and there is no cure. We look for what will make us stand up against that disease. Many diseases in history we find have been brought to total eradication actually, not just control by vaccine. Like the one most illustrative example is smallpox. Smallpox, a disease that ravaged the whole globe for a long time. It had really no cure. Even now it doesn't have much of a cure, being a virus problem. So, but in 1796, one British doctor, Edward Jenner, he is considered the harbinger of all modern what can be called vaccinology. It is immunology, the science of developing immunity. So he created a vaccine against smallpox. And then we now know there is no smallpox cases for last maybe about 60, 70 years, or very rarely present because of this massive vaccination all over that creates antibodies. Actually, it does not directly create antibodies. It gives an impetus to the immune system or trains the immune system to create antibodies. So that is how this vaccine now has controlled that problem. Another good example in comparatively very modern times is polio. The polio, these days we see very rarely this polio cases in children, but when I was growing up, I used to see many who were handicapped by polio. So the polio vaccine has really helped to get rid of that disease to a major extent. So vaccine is not something that you are given as a cure. A cure is when you have the problem and then you get some medication or some treatment to get rid of that disease. The existing already which has invaded the being, the person, and you give some treatment to get rid of that, that is a different thing. But vaccine is a prevention, means let not that disease overpower you. It is, you can call it a preemptive attack on or strengthening your forces so that the vaccine will not be able to, the disease will not be able to penetrate into you. So it is not that you have to wait to get the disease. Before you get the disease, you put this thing in place, knowing that the disease may come without any necessary warning to you. So it has to be administered before the disease can come to you. So this is the difference between vaccine and the treatment. The treatment, well, after one gets sick, then goes to doctor, and then the treatment gets decided how to cure it or reduce its impact. But vaccine is given before that, and this difference is to be kept in mind. Now, this is the vaccine for many physical ailments is there. What about the mental disorders? And that is an important thing because mind and body are very closely connected. If there is a mental disorder, it can, and it usually does, gives some problem for the body. It is not that just it remains in the mind. It percolates all the physical functions to sometimes to a mild level or sometimes to a very aggravated level. So it is the mental diseases are like that. Also it is the other way around also. Physical ailments, they bring the mental difficulties too. Something that has affected the body. But then in due course it affects the mind also. If the disease continues for a longer time or has really very bad effects on body, then since it limits the some of the functions that mind is used to do, that creates a problem for the mind. So there are, of course, those diseases, like since it is physical, turned into mental, the cure, the cause being the body, and the medication or vaccine goes to body. But those who are originated in mind and then go to body, now even if you apply, say, cure to the body, the problem will not go, because the origin of it is in mind. So it will flare up again and again. It is like some digestive disorder issues. Now you get this stomach pain, and then if you are given a painkiller, that will subside the pain for a time, but since the disease is not gone, the pain will keep on recurring again and again, because the problem is there. The cause is there, the effect is bound to be there. So just by stopping the effect, it doesn't mean that you stop actually the disease itself. So similarly, if there is the problem in the mind, if you just stop its physical expression, that may not or will not eradicate the original problem. So therefore, the treatment has to be there at the mental level. What about the immunology for the mental disorders? It is not much thought of. Usually people do not feel that it is necessary. It is felt that, okay, there are psychiatrists and psychologists and neurophysicians. If I get a problem, I go to them. But is there a vaccine for that? Not in the conventional sense, friends, but in our moral and religious system, such things have been taken into consideration. And then there is a deeper layer. I will be talking about that also a little bit. The spiritual sickness. There is just as there is the mental sickness, there is the spiritual sickness too. Is there a vaccine for that? Well, there is. And the effectiveness of all these vaccines, mental and spiritual, it depends on, how much a person is exposed to disease, how much that vaccine is getting integrated into the system to create the proper antibody against those mental and spiritual attacks. So all that determines it. But, there are some vaccines. Again, here it is not easy to exactly say which vaccine will be good for which particular mental disorder. One important thing about mental disorders is that many times they are jumbled together. It is not that you can just isolate one completely from other. Sometimes possible, many times very difficult or almost impossible. That what exactly, because they are all put together, like this guilt feeling. Now this guilt feeling gives rise to some sense of anxiety and also a sense of depression, loss of confidence, and so forth. So it is therefore not easy that this is just one disorder. So many disorders, they get kind of combined, and so very difficult to exactly name it. So many times it is named according to the intensity, that how much intensity is, according to the level of intensity, a disorder may get named. So there are thus the vaccinations for these things are not so easy to prescribe. But there are certain general vaccinations, and they are to be taken. Firstly, they anyway improve your mental well-being. Whether you have those disorders, whether they prevent the disorders or not, they still are conducive to one's well-being. So one should take those vaccines without much worries. It doesn't hurt for sure. It doesn't hurt. But just as even these, our like COVID vaccine or the flu vaccine, there are people who are against those vaccines. Even the idea of vaccine, because of certain religious associations or whatever, many people, they say no vaccines. So here also, many such vaccines will not be acceptable to people because they think that it is, it is religious. Now, as if this word is used, I have heard it being used in America as that it is religious, means something very bad. It is, what is bad about religious? It is no God, don't bring in God. Okay, it is so very difficult therefore for many people to accept these things. But let me tell you, they are certainly effective. And even if not effective, they are completely harmless, and they will give a sense of well-being as can be verified. So it is, for example, the anxiety. I am taking just an example. There is the anxiety. People are anxious. What will happen? It is, and it becomes a little bit, anxiety is quite normal, that yes, I am not sure what's going to happen. But then that becomes disorder when it occupies the whole life. Can't do anything, just constantly anxious. And then it becomes such a sticky thing that even if that problem is not there, the person will keep on finding some reason to become anxious. The anxiety is thus always there. And that is a debilitating problem because the person cannot think of anything else. I get many phone calls. Oh, I am worried about this and this and this. Well, what have you got to do about it? No, but I feel so worried. What will happen to the universe? So it is, if I get COVID, then what will happen to all my family members? Well, now maybe the family members will be very happy, but it is that this constantly complaining member, if keeps quiet for some time, that is okay. It is, but this anxiety is there. What will happen to me? I know a gentleman, we used to tease him, and that teasing was kind of a vaccine too, that he used to always think that he would go to doctor actually, and then would say that please give me some medicine because I am likely to fall sick. Now the doctor said, well, we don't have a medicine for likely to fall sick. What is the problem? This is a mental disorder, that anxiety about likely to fall sick. It is so many thoughts keep on bothering the mind. The mind becomes the person becomes anxiety incarnate, always anxious. This leads to many physical disorders also. It is, I don't have any statistics about it, but many times, just my personal association, I have seen many who have anxiety disorders. They are always anxious about something. They have migraine also. It is, and those who have migraine, they get anxious about many things. So there might be some correlation. Recently I found, this is documented, that if somebody has this anxiety, then that anxiety can cause the loss of immunity in a person. So don't get anxious. So it becomes the cause for loss of immunity. So if somebody has this anxiety, now after the anxiety comes, then maybe the counselor can help that person that, oh, Priya, I am having, okay, do like this, don't worry. They will have their, treatments for that. But then what should one do? Because we are talking about vaccine. Not to get anxious. So, an antibody has to be created so that the anxiety is stopped at the doorstep itself. That whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Your anxiety is not going to stop it. This is to be given, this vaccine is to be given right from the childhood. That kind of, atmosphere is to be created. This is, therefore, as I was telling, many will feel, hey, how can that be? No, it is actually in Ayurveda, it is even before the birth of a child, the carrying mother is advised to have positive feelings, something that will ward the anxiety. Now one can imagine, how much anxious would be mother, especially the first time would be mother be. It's kind of a rebirth for that lady. And so it is, the anxiety is, commonly it is likely to be there. So it is said, well, read some beautiful these hymns, that it is the God pervades everything, and pray to that divine being. Say, if you don't believe, doesn't matter. If you do not believe, does it hurt? It doesn't hurt. It is, and many of these, they have a positive impact. Fill the mind with the thought of God, that who controls everything. The point is, that somehow people who are otherwise very logical, they discard the idea of a being who is controlling the universe. They cannot, think of a city without a mayor or a state without a governor. But this universe, it can function without a governor, isn't it? A very logical idea, don't you think? So it is, no, I don't want to believe that. Suppose you don't believe. What does it matter if it is there? Even if you believe, whether you believe or not, it will work, isn't it? It works, it doesn't depend exactly on your belief. That is one thing about fact, that if it is a fact, whether you accept it, you don't accept it, if it is true, it will have effect on you. There have been people, who don't want to accept corona. Now, does it mean that they will not get affected by corona? If that is the case, that would be a great vaccine. Don't believe in corona. So, but that is not the case. It doesn't work like that. It is, the idea is that, okay, that being who is growing will get all that. It is actually described very well in those Ayurvedic books which are meant for these carrying mothers that think of it. I had met many years ago who used an Ayurvedic physician, and she used to tell about this to people on a mass scale. She would write articles because she said that this is very important for people to remember, think, because it is what used to be a common practice in the olden days. Now many have forgotten about it, or do not believe in it, or do not have time to do it. So the importance of it, she wanted to spread that, look, especially connected to the Upanishadic philosophy, that the being is there just as it is getting fed physically through mother, it is also listening through mother's ears. So the mother's mind, it is happening. There are therefore the stories in the epics, Indian epics, that that Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son, he was taught the use of this missile by Krishna. Krishna was talking to actually his mother, Subhadra, who was Krishna's sister too. So, and then Krishna started telling how that it is not, it was not the use of a missile. It is a battlefield arrangement, a strategic arrangement to prevent the enemy from entering. It is called a cyclic arrangement, Chakra Vyuha, a cyclic arrangement of the army so that it becomes very difficult to penetrate it. So he was telling how to penetrate it. And then that Subhadra was listening, and Krishna was hearing, And then who was saying that? It was the fetus inside that was saying, The fetus was hearing. And then Krishna stopped after that, going that inside. And then so he did not tell how to come out, because Subhadra fell asleep. So he stopped telling it. And so when the war was raging, and another person in their side was his father, Abhimanyu's father, who knew the secret of the whole thing very well. But he and Krishna, they were taken away by a plot to some other place, and this arrangement was made to prevent the army from getting in, the Pandavas' army from getting in. And this young boy says, well, I have heard about it. Half of it I know. I can go inside. Now the problem of coming back would be there. But when I go in, all other our great warriors can get in and they will do the rest of it. Ultimately that logic didn't work because he got in and got captured and killed. So, but the point here is that the knowledge was gotten inside the fetus. It is the theory of samskaras or impressions that comes into picture here. I am not going to talk much, but the impressions are such that they can be countered by the opposing impressions. So, many of the psychological disorders are the results of impressions, either from the past lives or from this life. It is a continuous life actually. We think only right from the birth it began. No, it is going on for past many births, who knows. So, all those impressions are there and they manifest. Impressions can be likened to seeds. And the seeds, they sprout, become big and give rise to the same. The result is the fruits. And those fruits again give the same seeds back. So, all those things that grow in a person's mind and therefore in the behavior, in the body, they are in that impression level. And so, put in good impressions. We may not know what impressions are lurking there, but okay, give some good impressions at that time, which will have a benevolent effect. So read the stories about the God incarnations. Read the stories about some, inculcating moral habits that, like for example, you may not believe in God, but one has to accept this idea of truth, morality. And there is a beautiful lecture by Swami Vivekananda about morality and spirituality. That it is, if you want to be moral, you are automatically led to be spiritual. There is actually no logical validity to morality without spirituality. It sounds like a daring statement because the world is full of those who advocate morality. Nobody wants to just junk morality. But we'll be moral. Is it necessary to be spiritual? Swami Vivekananda shows in his book on Karma Yoga, and also there is another lecture about it, that on morality, that all essence of this morality is not me but you. And this is actually a spiritual practice. For what prevents me otherwise from pursuing my selfish interest? It is, Karma Yoga tells you that the same you are in everyone. So if you hurt somebody, you are hurting yourself. So, but whatever it may be, everybody would accept that speaking the truth, holding on to truth, is a right practice, something that we must do. So let it be put in there. Speak the truth. Hold on to truth. As one does it, that is a great practice. Sri Ramakrishna showed in this age that he is therefore was so very truthful. Speaking truth had become so automatic with him. He could never utter a false word. So he therefore characterized that in this age, in our this Hindu traditional term, it is called Kali Yuga. So in this age, it is the practice of truthfulness is the austerity. You don't have to practice other austerities, just practice truthfulness. And what happens is that saves us from many, many mental difficulties which otherwise the impressions are there, they would sprout. But if there is this vaccine of truthfulness inserted, it's a vaccine. That will take care of many, many such issues in our life. Second thing is, the virtue of forgiveness. It will automatically bring down the anger. Anger is a big psychic disorder. One does so many things, bad things, just because of anger. If one goes and interviews those criminals languishing in prisons for some heinous acts they committed, and almost all of them confess that it was a moment of such anger that I could not control myself, and so I did this. It is therefore this idea of forgiveness, that that person did that, and so do I not do such things? I also have done, may not be exactly this, but something similar. Some offense I have committed against people, but so since it is forgiven, I should forgive. I should forgive to get forgiveness. That is a beautiful prayer that it is not a particular religion. You will find it in all religions. Especially, you will see that the Christian prayer that Jesus taught has all these elements. These are actually this prayer, if it is right from the childhood, if it is recited, it gives a vaccination against all or at least many of the mental problems that would otherwise erupt. It is, don't get angry, don't get anxious. What can you do? It is the God takes care of everything. You don't become anxious then. It is, Sri Ramakrishna used to give the example that the baby or a child knows mother, my mother is going to take care of everything. So doesn't feel anxiety. So similarly, when one is connected to God, God will take care of everything. Everything will be all right at the end. This is something that one should learn, that doing this, the anxiety disorder gets not much scope. It is therefore like a vaccine. You don't become anxious. The practice, even these days people pay more attention. What is the point in telling children to memorize and recite all these things? They don't understand. Yes, they don't understand. But a sanskara, an impression gets inserted. And it will have effect whether you understand or you don't understand. For that matter, how many who are eager to get corona vaccine understand how it works? Do I say that I am not going to take because I don't understand it? Well, everybody need not understand. And it works even if you don't understand. So, many of such things I have been told this by so many people that, for example, this listening to the arati, being here and then either reciting the arati, if not possible, listening to it. You can sing it or listen to it. It will have an inspiring and calming down impact, whether you understand it or even if you don't understand a single word of it. Because it does not, the effect will be there. If you understand, the effect will be more. But even if you don't understand, it is not going to be wasted. I am realizing it now. In my childhood, I used to recite many of these wonderful hymns, like the hymn Ganesha Tharvashirsha to Ganesha, then the hymn to Lord Rama, Ramaraksha Stotram. Then every evening we used to have this prayer meeting as soon as it is the sunset, and then the kids would be coming in that after from their play and all that, and then there would be a first prayer. A first prayer as you light the lamp. Now it is getting dark, so you put the lamp in the house. First thing is they would salute to the light. Now one may question, why? Impression. It creates an impression. Light is a great symbol of divine. Our Swami Sarvagatananji was never tired of repeating this, that in all religious systems you will find that the light has so much importance. It is a great symbol of divine. In Bible you read that God said, let there be light, and I am the light of the world. In Upanishads you find it so many times. It is Bhagavad Gita says that Jyotisham api tad jyoti, I am that light, that is the light of all lights. So it is, the light is such a symbol. So as soon as they would switch on the light, it would be a salutation to light. Then in this area where there was some kind of a shrine, a lamp would be lit and a prayer would be chanted together by all family members. That it is with the prayerful attitude. It is that Sanskrit prayer, I didn't understand meaning then. Shubham karoti kalyanam, arogyam dhana sampada, shatru buddhi vinashaya, deepa jyoti namostute. A very short prayer, but it has that impact. Later I understood the meaning, but without understanding the meaning, also you can get it in. It is one old-time educationalist. He said that the modern idea is don't give to children if they are not going to understand it. Why should they recite all these hymns? He pointed out that when they are little children, like our Udmesh sitting here, the power of memorization is strong. So when that power is strong, let it work. As they say, make the hay while the sun shines. It is this memorizing capability is strong. Later on it gets reduced. As so, when that power is strong, instead of memorizing some bad things here and there, because it will, if you don't give it good thing to memorize, it will memorize all those not very good words. So, give them hymns to memorize. you should not hold this power of memorizing just because the intellectual capability to understand has not developed. When the intellectual, this capability is enhanced, then that which was memorized will become helpful. That now you have, as they say, that have the ammunition, so that when there is the time you can fire it. It is, you have now this reserve, collection of these hymns and all, you can think of them. And they are so good, then you gradually get that meaning. The point is, this is a vaccination. And this is the many mental disorders, like I spoke about anxiety, that, well, God takes care of it. You will see there is much less anxiety in people who have this kind of atmosphere. The kids, right from, I would say, before the birth, and certainly in their childhood, they get this, their anxiety disorders are less. It is because they have the reference that comes automatically. Oh, God will take care of it. Why should I be so anxious? So it is, then the problem is of this depression. It is there, a very major problem. But then when we have this base, that God takes care of everything. It is, there are these wonderful situations when people have come out from a very lowly state and gotten great benefits in life. That is there. Why don't you think of those? And since they are already implanted, they act as vaccine. Against the depressing thoughts, they come up. Oh yes, people have done great things. And so therefore, such things do help as a vaccination against this. It is, and then there are the spiritual disorders, which manifest as mental disorders and also physical disorders. As I mentioned, that mental disorders tend to become physical and spiritual disorders tend to become the mental disorders. Spiritual disorder is very often seen, and in these days of consumerism, it is being, this society is aggravating that deliberately, and that is the excessive desires. The mind is constantly craving for new, different things. As soon as you have it, you see the advertisements of the new versions of it. Oh yes, I have got this phone, but a new version has come, so I have to get it because my friend has got it, So another person in our class has got it, so I have to get it. Excessive desires in all respect, and there is no fulfillment there. So this excessive desire, it is now, if that vaccine is there, that all fulfillment is within you. In self is all fulfillment. Or if you are a believer in God, because it is not possible to disbelieve I am, is a constant experience. So even if you are not a believer of God, okay, I am. So know that the source of all fulfillment is within you. Do you get it, Unmesh? The all fulfillment is within you. And know this, that all, and then, therefore, the cravings will try to come out. But then this thought will be able to moderate them, smother their intensity. So this can be, you can see this as a vaccine, a spiritual problem vaccine. And there is the attachment, another terrible spiritual problem. Both these are, why I am calling them spiritual, because it is basically they are results of not seeing the reality, the spiritual reality. And that is why we get attached to things which go away. Attachment means trying to hold. Now, if one is trying to hold on to something that is by its very nature sure to go away, see the problem, You can never hold on to it, and yet you want to hold on to it. So it creates a big problem. And what is the solution? Put a vaccine there. And what is that vaccine? That two ways. Everything which has a form is sure to go away. Know that. This knowledge is therefore to be repeatedly told till it becomes your part and parcel. That is a vaccination. So whenever you get then an attachment towards something, you know that everything is subject to these birth, growth, decay, death. They are going to go away. And therefore, do not try to hold on to any of these things. Hold on to that which does not go away, because it never really came. It is eternally present. So this is, if we have it in us, it works like a vaccine. It prevents you from this spiritual ailment of feeling just lost because what you thought to be yours is gone. No, it is not gone. It is that which is there, that which is not there, which never was. It comes and passes away. That is never there. So this is an important antibody that needs to be developed within, that whenever there is this attachment, and so hold on to it. And what happens with this attachment is that you become oblivious of the truth. When there is this attack of attachment, if there is this vaccine, that it is meant to come and go. And this is in every religion. Every religion has tried to emphasize this idea that no, that all these created things, they come and they go away. Don't run after them. You cannot hold it like the body. It is there, comes and goes. Everything is gradually it falls apart. So make best use of it while it is there. That is the difference between depression and the view according to this idea, the truth. And depression, anyway it is going to go away, and so you lose the interest and use of it. It is going to go away, but use while it is going to go away. When it goes away, you will not be able to use it, that's all. But that doesn't mean that now you should not use it. Use it while it lasts. So, use it to its best efficacy. So, this is then another problem that comes. It doesn't manifest as such very quickly, difficult to word it. But that is the real spiritual problem, friends, and that is loss of identity. That who am I? And that is a very difficult issue. And it actually gives rise to so much of uncertainty in life. Who am I? What is happening? How am I connected to it? It gives rise to so many these mental problems too, because nothing appears to be having any meaning. Because, well, I don't know what am I. It is who am I? We have to find out who am I. So therefore, the vaccination that Swami Vivekananda spoke about many times, that story of King Madalasa, that Queen Madalasa. She was a queen and she raised her children singing this song to them, that Tvamasi Niranjan, you are that sinless self, all-pervading. You are divine. You are divine. That becomes then the vaccine against this. Who am I? Well, you are God. You are child of immortality. So this is a spiritual vaccine, friends. So when we give these vaccines, it is one can see that many of these mental and spiritual attacks that one gets, this intensity gets tremendously reduced, and in many cases they won't even come at all, because they will be stopped right at the gates. And even if they come in, they would have lost lot of their intensity, as it is told about the vaccine these days, that CDC is telling that getting coronavirus does not mean that you will not get corona. You may get, but its intensity will be very low. You may not get symptoms. You may not fall sick. You may have corona, but you may not fall sick, or the intensity will be very low. So this spiritual vaccine, mental vaccine that we discussed, and in a nutshell, it is leading, getting those impressions of a moral and spiritual succor vaccine right from the childhood, or even by the carrying mothers, so that it gets instilled even in the fetus, so before the birth. So let us remember this, and let us get vaccinated at this level. So we will meditate on this idea for a few seconds, and then in case if you have questions, we can take up them. Yes, any question?
Maharaj, question from Lakshman Thakur.
Yes.
Swamiji Maharaj, could you tell something about the Swami? I have read a bit. Read about it, means there are two, 1A and 1B. 1A, who held umbrella over Ramakrishna's picture to protect it from leaking roof in initial Chennai ashram, and then 1B, and who chased a devotee for not getting good soft neem datun for Sri Ramakrishna that the Swami used in his worship for Ramakrishna Dev.
Yeah, Swami Ramakrishnananda was the one who held umbrella when the roof of that shrine was leaking, and so not to, in the rains, not to let Sri Ramakrishna get rain, he held the umbrella on the image of Sri Ramakrishna. Let us remember, for him it is not image, It is living Sri Ramakrishna. And it was he who scolded and actually got mad at this other Swami Niranjanananda for giving a not properly softened that twig to Sri Ramakrishna to brush his teeth. Again, that was the image of Sri Ramakrishna. But a twig had to be given to him to brush his teeth in the morning. And because the twig was not properly softened, he could see that Sri Ramakrishna's those gums and teeth, they are bleeding because of that harsh toothpick. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Prithvish?
One is mantra is also a vaccine.
Yes, you are very correct. A mantra is a great vaccine. It prevents many these diseases. Thank you very much. Mantra is certainly a very good vaccine. Yeah.
Our senior Swami used to say mantra is teaching something spiritual to the mind.
Yeah, very correct. Yeah, it is a very good vaccine. Yeah.
Secondly, that you mentioned about Abhimannu's story, and there is a similar story of Madalasha when the baby was inside and Madalasha
Yeah.
was divine. What happened to that child after?
Well, her other children, they renounced the world. One of them, he was going to be killed for the kingdom by somebody, and so he was taken for protection to the forest, and then she had given on a slip this paper for him to read later. And then when he read, he also realized that yes, I am immortal. And so he also renounced the world. Yeah, that is the story, yeah. So let us conclude with the closing prayers. And then let me tell about the upcoming, what is November, December, January, okay. The January 24th, the topic next Sunday is Let It Begin With Me. The other programs during the week will go on as usual. The Tuesday, Friday Vedanta classes. Tuesday the topic is the Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play, and Fridays it is stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. Daily morning, evening prayers, meditations, they will go on as per schedule. So, and then in February, on February 7th, there will be the worship of Swami Vivekananda, and in the evening there will be symposium. For attending the worship part of the program, like during earlier such big worships, people will have to register. That registration will begin, I think, when is it? Do you remember? In the February flyer I had put that it will begin after a few days, I think, on 27th of this month, 10 days. Usually we begin in 10 days in advance. So we will send you a newsletter notice about it. And okay, now the closing prayer, friends. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.
Breaker of all our worldly bondage and adored by all, we adore you too. Stainless Lord, assuming human form. Stainless Lord, assuming human form, transcendent yet filled with love. You free us from the stain of sin and ornament our world. Consciousness is your form. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Looking at them, illusion is gone. Ocean of shining love and feeling, ever inebriated in your infinite love. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Form our boat to cross this world. Revealed to us as God incarnate and the Lord of all things, helping us join with you. Your mind's always set in the divine light. Your mind's always set in the divine light. This we can see through your grace. Destroyer of our worldly sorrow and compassion soul, infinite is your word. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance, saving us from darkness and fear. Renouncer of all lust and lucre, careful you were always spurning sensual life. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Grant to us pure love for you. You're fearless and you're free. across this puddle of life. You give love and even-sightedness. You give love and even-sightedness to remove our anguish here. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heartscape. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heartscape. Darkness is destroyed by your light. Oh Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heartscape. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heartscape. Darkness is destroyed by your light. Oh Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Langa Ranga Bhanga, these are all the sounds of Mridanga. Langa Ranga Bhanga, these are all the sounds of Mridanga. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Jaya Jaya for your worship divine. Hara Hara for your worship divine. Shiva Shiva for your worship divine. Breaker of all our worldly bondage and adored by all, we adore you too. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Auspicious and blessed graciousness sublime, all noble ends you give to us, granting us refuge, all-seeing Gauri, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Creation, preservation, dissolution are your powers, eternal one. Nature's real basis, nature's nature's essence, O Mother Divine, our love to you. We come seeking refuge from anguish. Be our Savior through your deep concern. All our suffering remove, Goddess, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Victory, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Jai Shri Ram Krishna Dev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Sarda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Swami Vivekananda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Buddha Dev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jesus Christ